Hi, this is Dana from Serious Vanity on Wednesday, April 27th, 2016. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about finding your inner selfie, and that's kind of a contrived title for this podcast, but I really can't think of a better way to put you in the frame of mind that you need to be in order to really develop your personal brand online. This train of thought that I'm in came from a conversation I saw online the other day amidst a bunch of voiceover talent on a Facebook group. And someone had brought up not liking the sound of their own voice. Now, this is a voiceover group that I was reading, and I kind of sat there with my mouth agape and really not understanding what to say because the conversation didn't correct from there. Like everybody was kind of chiming in with, oh yeah, I can't stand the sound of my own voice either. And oh, I hate listening to myself. I never listen to my own work. And it just really blew my mind because I love listening to my work. And that may put me in a category of being a little bit egotistical. But since I was a little girl, my very first tape recorder that I ever got, I was probably maybe like 7 years old. And I loved making little programs and singing songs and then playing them back. I mean, that was the whole point of having the tape recorder. And I thought it was funny. I thought it was great. And I never really lost that about myself. I never wanted to make music that I didn't want to listen to. Maybe I just have more detachment from my own creative self and my observational self. It's not like I just want to hear me. I just like what I do. I have a passion for what I do. And I assume that anyone who dedicates themselves to attempting any kind of career in the performing arts, which this, voiceover and anything in advertising is kind of in that gray area between performing arts and service industry. Because we are doing this for a purpose. And I do tend to lean more on this as a service than as an art, especially when it comes down to some of the kinds of popular things that voiceover does now. It's not really entertainment oriented. But still, there should be, I believe, like that thing that makes you want to hear it, that I can't believe that someone else is going to want to hire me for their projects if I can't even like myself. If I hear it and it makes me cringe, how can I possibly expect someone receiving it to not get that energy with it? And it just really, really bothered me. And, we criticize the young and not so young. There's a lot of people that do it who are constantly in that mode of taking selfies. And, here's me eating food. Here's me doing anything. And, it gets to be like, wow, we live in a really self-centered, self-focused culture. But I don't hate on that so much. I remember back in the day before there were smartphones and digital cameras that made the selfie thing really easy. Like I had a Sony Mavica and that was back in the late 90s when digital photography first kind of came to the consumer level. And there was this, big, clunky, ridiculous camera that took awful pictures. And I loved it. That meant that I did not have to try and take pictures of myself and then go have them developed. I just think it's important, if you're going to have a presence online, if you're going to develop a brand, whether it's a personal brand, whether it's your business brand, whether it's a combination of those two things, you have to get comfortable with yourself. And it's not that you have to be comfortable with every way. I mean, you don't have to literally take a selfie, but if you are doing something that is an expression of yourself, be good with that. Don't just be comfortable with it. Work on getting great with it. Work on looking forward to it. I used to hate sales. I used to hate cold calling. I used to hate any traditional method of selling. And within a very short amount of time of deciding, you know what, I have to love this. I have to not just tolerate this. I have to love it because this is my lifeblood. This is what keeps my business going. Within a very short amount of time, the adrenaline starts to build for it, and you look forward to it when you realize that it's too late in the day to continue to call people because they're all going home and you're just going to get voicemail and you're going to sound like a weirdo calling people at 9 o'clock at night. It gets disappointing that you can't continue to do it. It's all mindset, and it's all got to be focused on what your end goal is. If you really want to be a voice artist, and I'm using that as an example because I'm surrounded by so many other voice talent, if that is really your goal, you have to embrace that part of yourself. You have to get yourself acclimated. If you want the world to hear your voice on a national ad, in a national product, you need to love your voice. Fill it with love for yourself, from yourself. Please go forward this Wednesday just full of love for what you do and passion, and remind yourself why you're doing it, and remind yourself that it is wonderful. Okay? I'll talk to you tomorrow.